Hey guys, Miss Cote here. Now it's time for us to tackle the immune system, which is chapter 43 in your book. There's a lot of information in this chapter, so to keep it manageable, I'm going to split up this chapter into 3 videos. So this first video will give you an overview of what the immune system is all about and focus on the part of the immune system called innate immunity. So let's get started. Here we have a very cool picture of a macrophage, one of the cells in your immune system, and it's engulfing a bunch of bacteria. Bacteria, along with viruses, fungi, and others, can be referred to as pathogens, an agent that can cause disease. The macrophage is one of the many types of cells whose job it is to interact with and destroy these pathogens. So how does the immune system fit in with our unit on cell communication? In the very basic sense, the immune system's job is to distinguish self from non-self. If you remember, we have proteins that act as identification tags on the surface of our cells, and these tags mark your cell as belonging to you. The function of the cells of the immune system is to find cells or other foreign bodies that are non-self and coordinate with the body as how to destroy these things that don't belong to you. This communication to rid your body of foreign invaders takes many players who all have different jobs. There are 2 types of immune defense found in animals. The first is innate immunity, which all animals have. This is a nonspecific, rapid response. The second is called adaptive or acquired immunity, which is only found in vertebrates. This is a more specific type of defense that takes time to develop and will be discussed in the next 2 episodes. So let's start discussing the innate immune system. All animals have innate immunity. This is the type of immunity that is present from birth. Plants have innate immunity too, but we'll discuss that in the plant defenses chapter, which is chapter 39. Actually, for the sake of time, I'm only going to focus specifically on vertebrates. Because this type of immunity is nonspecific, it's considered to be the first response. It uses a small set of receptors to recognize a broad range of foreign bodies to activate internal defenses. So any number of bacteria, viruses, and other foreign bodies will be recognized as not belonging to you and will trigger a response. First of all, if the pathogen cannot enter the organism, then it's not going to make you sick. So the barrier defenses are the first line of defense. This includes the skin, which is a layer of epithelial cells tightly joined together, so nothing can get through, unless you have a cut or break in the skin. This also includes the mucous membranes, which line certain areas of the body and produce mucus to trap pathogens and other particles. Body fluids, such as tears and saliva, can not only wash away pathogens, but can also contain enzymes that can destroy cell walls. Other types of secretions include stomach acid, to neutralize the pathogens in food or drink, and even sweat can lower the pH of the skin to prevent growth. If a pathogen does enter the body, more often than not, it will be taken care of by phagocytosis. Earlier I said that a set of receptors are involved that recognize a range of foreign molecules. These are called toll-like receptors, TRLs, and these are what our nonspecific immune cells have to recognize non-self. These receptors are able to recognize molecules on pathogens which we shouldn't have in our bodies, so there shouldn't be any confusion as to what belongs and what doesn't. The 2 main types of phagocytic cells in the body are neutrophils, which are found circulating in the bloodstream, and macrophages, which are found all over the body. Some patrol, while some hang out in tissues and organs. 2 other types of phagocytic cells are dendritic cells, which can activate the adaptive immune system and initiate specific responses, and that's for another video, and eosinophils, which defend against multicellular invaders like parasitic worms. Another type of cell important in innate immunity are natural killer cells, sometimes referred to as NK cells. These cells patrol around the body looking for abnormal cells, like cells infected with a virus and cancer cells. However, instead of engulfing them by phagocytosis, they release chemicals that destroy them. And that's why they're not included in the phagocytic cell category. They get their own category. Antimicrobial peptides and proteins are yet another defense mechanism of the innate immune system. One example are the interferons. These are proteins that deal primarily with viral infections. For example, if a cell is infected with a virus, it can secrete interferons to let its neighbors know it's infected and to take the proper precautions so they don't get infected as well. Another group of proteins are what's called the complement system. This involves about 30 proteins that work together to destroy foreign cells by various methods. The last piece of innate immunity is something called the inflammatory response, which is something you've probably experienced at least once in your life. This deals with the pain and swelling that happens during an infection or when there's an injury, like a splinter piercing the skin. So let's take a look at the events that occur during an injury. So here we have a splinter that has penetrated the skin. As you can see, the splinter is covered with bacteria, and these are shown in green. One of the first cells to respond are the red cells on the left called mast cells. These mast cells release a signaling molecule known as histamine, which are the red dots. Histamine will trigger the capillaries, nearby blood vessels, to dilate or become wider. Sometimes fluid can leak out of the capillaries and into the tissue, causing some swelling. If you've ever gotten a cut, you may have noticed that it becomes a little swollen in the area, which is due to an increase in fluid in the area. Another cell in the area is the macrophage, shown in purple. Remember that a macrophage has the ability to engulf the bacteria. However, if it knows it can't take care of the situation itself, like if there's too many bacteria for it to handle, it can release another kind of signaling molecule called chemokines or cytokines, depending on the textbook, to call in reinforcements, such as that neutrophil in the capillary. Increasing the diameter of the blood vessel will increase the flow of blood to the area, bringing in more neutrophils and antimicrobial proteins. Next, we see that the neutrophils, the backup, have arrived on the scene. The fluid entering the site has caused swelling at the cut, along with some redness from the increased blood flow to the area. Increased blood flow is also accompanied with an increase in temperature, so the area may also feel warm to the touch. Finally, the bacteria are taken care of, a clot will form at the cut, and everything will eventually go back to normal. That was an example of a local and minor inflammatory response. If the damage is more severe, the inflammatory response is considered to be systemic, meaning it is spread throughout the body. The reaction is increased with more cells being brought to the area, along with the body to reach higher temperatures, known as fever. If the infection becomes life-threatening, it's called septic shock and can be fatal if not treated immediately. So there we have the innate immune system. In this episode, we've looked at barrier defenses such as skin and secretions, and internal defenses with cells that can destroy pathogens by either engulfing them or by releasing enzymes to destroy them, among other helpful molecules. Remember that these mechanisms are nonspecific and can happen very quickly. In the next video, we'll start exploring the slower but more specific adaptive immune system, which involves some cells that you might have heard of called B cells and T cells. So until next time, be smart and be safe.